And happy to take questions.
No.
No. so grab a seat, listen and love it.
Won't take long.
Well, welcome all. Thank you for being here for the Glen Davis reunion. They're putting on a good function this weekend and the gods have been kind to us. I'm pleased to see you all. Hands up those who haven't been to Glen Davis before. Well, most of you know something about Glen Davis. Last year, I talked a little while for about an hour or so. I'm not going to do that long today, but last year we started on the shale oil industry. Today I'm just going to an introduction to the shale oil industry, and then I'd like to just concentrate on a few of the features of the Glen Davis township. I think that's more interested to the individuals as such. So initially, to start with, I'd like to address that if we go back to 1813, when the Blue Mountains were first crossed by the white people. Prior to that, there were a couple, 7 different attempts to cross the Blue Mountains. But in that particular time, it was extended to try and get a party to cross the Blue Mountains to source more agricultural pastoral land that would help the Sydney metropolitan area in the first instance. Because if we go back to those days, you'll find that Sydney metropolitan area in 1813 only had recorded 13,000 people. So in the 1813, Gregory Blatchman, William Lawson and William Charles Wentworth were requested to cross the Blue Mountains. What they did is they found that in the first instance they left from Blacksman's South Creek Farm, which is St Mary's, and they travelled on to St Mary's, and that was May 1813. From there they crossed the Blue Mountains up into the Mount Victoria area to Mount York. That took 21 days. And in that period, they then first saw Mount Blacksman, 25k from Lithgow, and that was the furthest they went to at that particular time. And they found that Mount Blacksman was the obvious point that highlighted the magnitude of the pastoral and the agricultural land that was available at that distance. The aftermath of all this was that they found that Surveyor General William Evans was dispatched by a government quarry to extend the Lawson survey route to Bathurst area, and he did this, and that extended to 1815. So you can bear in mind that from 1813 to 1815, 2 years, the explorers had come over the Blue Mountains and had gone up to Mount Victoria, and then the following year up to, they went from Hartley to Bowen Fells at Lithgow, Bowen Fells to Rydal to O'Connell, and then to Bathurst. During the course of that, it was found that in 1813 up to 1824, William Lawson was engaged in the construction of a bypass road because they found that the Mount Victoria Pass, which was the first one, was an unsatisfactory grade and a very inhospitable track to take. So he was then arranged to go into an area called the Long Alley, which was then named Lawson's Long Alley, which takes them from Mount Victoria, from Mount York, across to Hartley Vale. During that course of entering down into Hartley Vale in the Long Alley, Lawson reported to have found 3 feet seam of coal. Kerosene Vale, I'll just tell you, Kerosene Vale looks like coal, but are much lighter in weight. It can be black or dark green in colour, has a silky sheen and is greasy to the touch. It consists of bitumised clay or mud, while coal is carbonised plant life. The term oil shale is today applied to any rock which produces oil for heating or fuel. Torbanite is recognised as the name after Torbane in Scotland, which came to be associated with the minerals found in this particular area.